Hi, everyone. So sorry for the delay. We were having some issues accessing the link to the meeting, but thank you for being patient. We're gonna just wait a couple seconds for make sure everybody gets on. Thank you again for being here. Apologies again, we're starting a little later. All right, I think there's a good number of folks on now. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. If you're just signing on, apologies for starting the meeting a little late. We were having some technical difficulties, but thank you for being patient. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is the HMIS Policy Committee meeting. HMIS stands for Homeless Management Information System. My name is Mark Mora. I am the guest facilitator today. I'm covering for my colleague, Michelle, but I have facilitated this meeting in the past. I work for Homebase, an organization contracted by H3 to provide various types of support in the Contra Costa Continuum of Care, or COC. So I'm gonna hit record really quick. Or I think actually we are recording. Okay, awesome. So as a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and the recording will be available for public viewing. Also, I don't know if one of the hosts on right now, let's see, I think that is Jamie J or Jamie S, whoever signed on to the Contra Costa COC account. If you could make me a co-host so I can enable live transcript function, that would be appreciated.
Hey, Mark. So I think I'm logged in as the COC account right now.
Awesome.
How do I switch over host?
Just click the participants button at the bottom, and yep, there you go. Thank you.
Sorry
so
about
I'm going to go ahead. No problem at all. Thank you for doing that. So we are going to enable, let's see. If you go to captions, Kim, there should be an option to enable live transcript if it hasn't been already enabled. There we go. I can see it. Thank you for doing that.
Great.
So the live transcript function is enabled, and you can toggle on and off as you need in the toolbar, typically at the bottom of your Zoom window. So let's go ahead, since we're a little behind, let's move forward with introductions. Welcome to anyone here for the first time. Let me go share the slides really quick. Folks can give me a thumbs up if you can see that. Awesome, thank you. All right, so again, welcome to anyone here for the first time. The HMIS Policy Committee is a committee of the Council on Homelessness. And then we have we're in this transition phase. It's the first month after some new council members have been seated. And at the council meeting this week, we're going to be, folks are going to be reassigned to, or they're going to be able to select what committees they want to be a part of. But this past year, at least 2022, we've had a number of council members who have been involved with this committee. So I just want to shout them out if they are here. Tony Yusufari, Gabriel Lemus, Iman Novin, Joe Bruno, and Juno Hedrick. Just wanted to shout you all out. And then we will go through some introductions briefly with different teams who are here supporting the meeting. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Kim and allow folks from the red team to introduce themselves.
All right. Hey, everybody. Kimberly Tai, your HMIS System Administrator with the H3 Red Team.
Hi, everybody. Jamie Klinger, Research and Evaluation Manager with H3.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tammy's Dosage. I'm the HMIS Quality Assurance and Training Coordinator with H3.
Hi, everyone. Tori Carlson, Data Specialist with H3. Hello, my name is Carlos Silva. I'm data analyst for H3.
All right, anyone else from the red team want to introduce yourself? I think that's everyone. All right, next is the coordinated entry team. Mary, is Mary on? It looks like Mary is not on, but Mary Fitzgerald is on the coordinated entry team. COC administrator is Shelby on.
Hi, everyone. Shelby Ferguson, COC Administrator with H3.
Thanks, Shelby. And then other folks from H3 who want to introduce themselves.
Oh, hi, I'm Natalie Steve. I'm a coordinated entry specialist with H3.
Thanks, Natalie. All right, anyone else from H3 before we move on? Awesome. Okay. And so if you haven't already, everyone else attending the meeting, if you can, just want to shout out some different groups of people. If you can introduce yourselves in the chat, you can drop your name and your agency. But just want to highlight committee members, that is folks who are working for agencies who are partnered in HMIS. Also want to shout out agencies, folks who work for agencies who are not currently participating in HMIS, and also want to shout out folks from the public who are here today. Welcome, everyone. So please take a look at the chat and just kind of see the folks who are here present at the meeting. And with that, I will move us to public comment next. So this is an open period for members of the public in attendance to comment on items that are not listed on the agenda today. If you would like to comment, go ahead and raise your hand or unmute yourself or leave a comment in the chat. I'll open the floor now for public comment. All right, not seeing anything in the chat or any hands raised. Last call for public comment. Okay, I will move us forward to the next item, which is a review of previous meeting minutes. So we'll just take a couple minutes here. You should have received an email or a link, the link with the materials for the meeting, which included minutes from the previous meeting. Anyone have any questions or edits to the previous meeting minutes?
Hey, Mark, I think Mary's trying to get into the meeting. I'm not sure if you're seeing anyone in the waiting room.
I am not seeing anyone in the waiting
Okay.
room at the moment.
I'll let her know.
Okay, but I will keep a lookout. Thanks for the heads up. Okay, not seeing any comments or questions about the previous meeting minutes. Going to move forward to agency updates. This is an opportunity for agencies to provide any updates on upcoming events, job openings, or other updates for the group. If you could please keep your remarks brief, we'd appreciate it. Going to open the floor for any agency updates.
Good afternoon. This is Vanessa Calloway with Way to Love Castro Encampment in Richmond. We're having a community cleanup on President's Day, and we would love any volunteers and participation. The cleanup is scheduled from 8 to 2. I'll put my information in the chat, so if you want more information, want the flyer, anything of that nature, you can reach out to me.
Thanks, Vanessa. Anyone else? Agency updates?
Hey, Mark, is it okay if I reclaim the host function and see if I can let Mary in?
Oh yeah, I will make you a co-host. But I just let her in though.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
Any other last call for agency updates? All right. By the way, for some reason, it still says that Mary is joining. It's taking longer than usual, it seems. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next item, which is system administrator updates. I'll pass it over to Kim.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Hey, it's good to see everybody. I just have one quick update. There we go. We are adding 2 new partner agencies to our COC and our HMIS system. There's Anthem Blue Cross and the other one is Kaminar. I'm not sure if either of them are in the room today, but hopefully by next meeting, we can do a more formal introduction. That's it.
Hey, Kim, just quick question about that update. Does that mean we're going to have a new release of information version that we're going to send out to the group?
Yes, once they're officially onboarded and trained and set up, we will be releasing a new ROI. So everyone, please keep your eyes open for that coming soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any questions for Kim? Okay, not seeing anything in the chat. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
We'll move on to coordinated entry updates. I will pass it over. Hopefully, Mary's been able to get, sign on. So Mary, if you're on, go ahead and take over.
I think she is still having technical difficulties. We might have to circle back. Is it okay, Jamie, if we skip over to your section?
Yep, happy to jump in.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Jamie Klinger. I am here to provide an update on the point in time count. We're planning for the 2023 count, which is in 8 days. All right. So first, I just want to give a very quick summary. So we have our observational count, which is our unsheltered count, which is the one I just referenced. That's the morning of Wednesday, January 25th from 5:30 to 9 a.m. We have over 200 volunteers already registered, so we actually reached our volunteer goal. If folks were still trying to get their information through and to participate and couldn't get access to the survey, please reach out to myself or Dana Ewing directly, and we'll make sure we get you the right information and get you on our list. We also have the sheltered count, which takes place the morning or the night before the unsheltered count. So that's Tuesday, January 24th. We have been holding in-person trainings, and we are also holding a remote training, which is happening tomorrow morning. From the hours of 9 to 10:30 a.m. So if any folks registered to be a volunteer and have not completed a training yet, please catch that remote training. We do have one final in-person training available at our core offices, which there's actually a typo here. It's 2380 Bissell Lane, and that's going to be held on Friday from 12:30 to 2 p.m. The weather was not kind to us last week, and our in-person attendance was not very high. This is an opportunity to bring folks together. It is a much easier outcome for both the facilitators of the training and the attendees to be there in person, because we do an in-person demo for how to download and utilize the mobile data collection app. So just really wanting to encourage all folks, if you haven't attended a training, in person is the ideal, but we do have the remote training available as well for tomorrow morning. Next slide. Okay, and then following our enumeration activity, which is the unsheltered count, we will be doing survey sampling through the dates of February 6th through February 17th. You see training listed there with some asterisks because we are working on scheduling training for those who are going to be supporting the survey sampling activity. So we tend to lean really heavily on our core staff to help with this activity, our homeless service providers, and especially shelter sites. And then we're also working with people with lived experience to help administer these surveys as well. More information will be sent out to all volunteers who express interest in participating in this particular component of the PIT. And we will also be reaching out to our providers specifically to see if folks are available to participate during that time period. During survey sampling, this is when we collect our rich information about people who are experiencing both sheltered and unsheltered homelessness. We collect all the HUD required data elements, including a lot of information around demographics, household composition, and their homelessness experience. And again, we are sampling both of these populations, both the sheltered and unsheltered. And then we had a really engaged conversation last week with our PIT subcommittee folks. So they're going to be reviewing the survey, which there are a few attendees on this call who were also a part of that call. And that email has not gone out yet. That will go out today by end of business day. And we're giving folks about 2 weeks to provide their feedback around the questions, the content, the response categories that are included in that brief survey. Go ahead to the next slide. Okay, and then I get most excited about the data for this activity. So we just want to keep everyone appraised of what this timeline looks like. So data cleaning and analysis takes place in early spring. Even though we're collecting this data live and dropping pins, there's a lot of cleaning that is involved in this. So the data does not get turned over as quickly as I think most folks and myself would hope for. We have both the County Department of IT as well as the Contra Costa Health Business Intelligence team working collaboratively to analyze and clean this data. So it is a bit of a process, and we have multiple stakeholders involved in that. The enumeration data, which is just your total count data for sheltered and unsheltered, which also includes the city data as well, that will be published first. We're aiming for the end of March for a broad publication, and then we will be working on a full report. So a full report of the 2023 findings. We typically aim for the end of July for that report as well, but we'll just keep everyone posted with where we're at in terms of analysis and making sure we're meeting a variety of stakeholders' needs within that report. I think that's my last slide. And I'd be happy to answer PIT questions at the end of this PIT section.
All right, and then this section is in regard to the sheltered count. So just a few reminders, we are pulling the sheltered count from HMIS. So please be sure that all your data for the month of January is complete and verified by the 10th, which is when your normal monthly reporting schedule, all of those reports are due on the 10th anyway. So we're hoping that all of those get submitted on time, just so that we're able to ensure that the HUD submission is done on time. For providers that are not in HMIS, we will be sending out an Excel counting sheet hopefully by today with some instructions. And so these are providers like Stand and Shepherd's Gate and maybe other DV providers that are not participating in HMIS. And this also includes the rescue mission. So please submit that back to the red team also by Feb 10th. Lastly, the totals will then be consolidated and prepped for HUD submission. All right, on to a related note, which is the housing inventory count. Next slide, please. Okay, so the housing inventory count is our annual count of homeless beds across the county. Most of you are already familiar with this process, but to give a quick overview of what to expect, we will be sending out a Google Doc soon, and the next slides will show you what that will look like. All right, so for those of you who have not done this in the past, every year we collect some information about your bed inventory. The first set of columns here, you'll see your project name, your organization name, and the project type, which can either be shelter, transitional housing, rapid rehousing, or PSH, which is permanent supportive housing. The next set of columns pertain to funding sources. And if you are HUD funded, we'll need you to enter the grant ID number as well as the start and end dates. So you would just select from those pick lists where you receive your funding. And if they are not federal, if you don't receive federal funding, then you would just select other. For the next set of columns, these pertain to beds dedicated to specific populations. So I know that the screenshot is a little small there, but those subpopulations are households with children, households without children, and households with only children, meaning minors or parenting youth. For the households with children, we need to know the number of rooms and total beds in all of those rooms. So to make things a little bit easier to read, we've shaded some of the cells that most likely won't apply to that specific program. We've also left in some answers from last year's HIC for projects that tend to keep a static number of beds year over year. You can, of course, change those numbers if they are no longer accurate. Next slide, please. The next set of columns pertain to demographic specific beds. And so these are subsets of the earlier 3 columns. So this is how many of those family beds are dedicated to veteran families, how many are dedicated to youth families, how many are dedicated to chronic families. And then in the light orange, you'll see how many singles beds are related to veteran singles, how many singles beds are dedicated to youth singles, and how many are for chronic singles. And then in the green there, you can see a total column where it'll just total up all the beds that you've indicated in columns H, J, and K. The next set of columns are specifically for shelters with seasonal beds and overflow beds. So this is where we would include like the Winter Nights shelter or the Trinity Center shelter or any other shelter that may use temporary cots during specific seasons. It also asks for when those beds were made available. And then the last set of columns, if we can go to the next slide, please. We have the total of year-round beds in column X. So this will actually total all year-round beds plus the seasonal beds to get the final count. Column Y is asking for the total beds that were occupied. So out of that total number of beds in your inventory, how many were actually in use the night of January 24th. And then you've got a bed utilization percentage, which is an auto-calculated cell. So that is not something you need to fill out. But if your utilization is less than 75% or greater than 105%, HUD does ask us to provide an explanation. So we've got a notes box there in yellow for those 2 situations. And then there's also a notes box for any notes that you'd like to leave the red team. So I know that was a lot of information, but are there any questions on how to fill out the HIC spreadsheet? We should be sending that out sometime within the next day or so.
Are any questions about the PIT in general?
I do actually, for the training that is tomorrow morning. So I'm having a hard time getting the app on my phone, but I know that my partner has it on her phone. And so in the emails, it was saying that they wanted to do an in-person training, so they make sure that the app is working well. But are we to show up early at our, how do they just said to show up early, and I just wasn't sure if maybe I'll get more details in the email, or I don't know.
Yeah, so the show up early would be for the morning of the count. So if you're planning on attending the remote training, which it sounds like you are, and you can't download the application, what we'd want is for you, there's 2 options. You can either attend the Friday in-person training and we'll get you all squared away, or you can show up promptly at 5:30 a.m. at your kickoff location, and we'll make sure we troubleshoot. We have quite a few technical support and administrative staff that can get you all squared away. And
Great.
if for some reason you're just leaning on your partner to do the data collection, we do encourage you to follow along through that process, even if your app isn't processing or downloaded or working correctly, just in case for some reason on that morning something changes, your partner can't make it, or we need to partner you with somebody else, something like that. We just want to make sure everybody's on the same page about how to collect the data, how to describe that, how to navigate that.
Perfect. Thanks.
You're very welcome. I think we can hand it over to Mary for her section if there's no more questions about the point in time count or the housing inventory count.
Thanks, Jamie and Kim. Mary, take it away. I'll transition to your slides.
Thank you. Sorry about that, everyone. My Zoom, it was giving me an error message, but here I am. You could go to the next slide, please. For those of you who have not met me yet, my name is Mary Fitzgerald. I'm the coordinated entry manager here at H3. So a couple quick updates. The first of which is regarding our coordinated entry APR. If you all recall, that is an annual report that we submit to HUD. We submitted it in the month of December of last year, and everything went well as far as uploading and whatnot. We did, and if you recall from our last meeting, our red team helped create a dashboard for providers to go in and be able to see some of the data that they're inputting that affects that report, to allow them to clean up that data and kind of just monitor it. So from there, some of what I have to share with you guys today is some of the lessons that we learned from this process, through like the data cleanup, etc. So again, this is a report and a dashboard that what we've learned is that it's best monitored on a monthly basis, or quarterly at the latest, but preferably a monthly basis, because we can see that errors quickly pile up. A lot of the errors are related to things that happen when folks are referred or entering in our system. So it's really important to keep up with this dashboard frequently. We also learned that adding instructions to the tiles in the dashboards themselves made cleanup a lot easier and more accessible to folks actually doing the work in HMIS, having those instructions right there on the screen in real time, not having to toggle anywhere else, just able to see it right there. And then we also noticed that there are specific staff or agencies that seem to have the most challenge with some of the data cleanup or data areas that the APR captures. So we've identified those folks to continue to provide one-on-one support to them. And then finally, moving forward, the CE APR dashboard will be a standing agenda item for myself in monthly provider meetings that I have one-on-one with some of our different providers entering data in this area. Next slide. Okay, really quickly before we go on to talk about our expanded shelter capacity, are there any questions regarding CEAPR dashboard? I know it's kind of been we've talked about it the last few committee meetings, so probably not. But if anything comes up, feel free to let me know. And then the other update I have for this group was just a quick note regarding our expanded shelter capacity. So in response to the weather crisis that we've been experiencing in the area recently, H3 in collaboration with different providers have expanded or had expanded some of our shelter capacity. The expansion began on 1/8 for some providers or 1/9 for most, and continued actually through last night. So since these slides have been published, our emergency kind of response has ended, and those the expansion ended as of last night. So it's one edit to these slides. And what this resulted in was an expansion of our shelter beds for adults and families across the county, and also allowed for the provision of a great amount of supplies for CORE to distribute to those experiencing unsheltered homelessness who are not in shelters or would not be coming in from the outdoors. Those supplies included things like tarps, sleeping bags, hats, gloves, etc. But we did see mostly single adults utilizing this expanded services. But it was really a great effort between our team and different providers. A lot of our providers really stepped up to provide additional sheltering beds. And I do want to give one shout out because one of your very own HMIS administrators, Sue from GRIP, is on the line, and she really just went above and beyond and helped a lot with the expansion over at GRIP to accommodate up to 20 additional adults and 3 families over at GRIP. So thank you, Sue. But those are the updates that I have from the coordinated entry side in regards to our CEAPR and this temporary expanded shelter capacity in response to the weather, which did end as of last night. Any questions? All righty, well, thank you so much. And thank you again for squeezing me in elsewhere in the agenda.
Thanks, Mary. I'm going to move us forward in the slide deck. Apologies for the scrolling. All right, we are at data quality updates. I'm going to pass it over to Tori.
Hi, everybody. My name's Tori Carlson with the Red Team. Can I get the next slide? Thank you. So due to holiday schedules and pit planning, November's data is still under review, so I don't have any updates about that yet, probably at the next meeting. Also, we received a lot of, well, not a lot of, a couple CES APR monitoring reports. We don't need those submitted on a monthly basis to us at the Red Team. Also about monthly reports due to the severe weather and how it impacted all of our emergency shelters, we did extend the deadline for December's reports to today. So if you haven't submitted your enrollment reports or your data quality dashboard yet, you have until the end of today to do that. For the data quality dashboard itself. So you can actually find this report titled as the new CCC data quality dashboard. I noticed that a lot of people submitted the drill down version by mistake, but you actually want to select the new CC data quality report, not the drill down version. And again, we don't have any updates about the repairs to that drill down feature for the original dashboard. So you're still going to want to use the workarounds that we created for that. If anyone has any questions about that. Okay, next slide. And then to follow up with that, the drill down version is a little different than the new CC data quality dashboard. So what you're going to want to do is use both of those reports together when you're reviewing month to month. You're going to identify the red cells that are appearing on the CC data quality dashboard, but then you're going to be able to find those clients and fix those errors by using the drill down version. So when you go to data analysis and you download the drill down version, you're going to get a report that is mirroring the new CC data quality dashboard, but it's broken up a little differently. So as you can see for the missing data section, and this goes the same for the accuracy section, you're going to look at each row, and each row is a client that needs to be checked for an error. And each column is identifying the error that appeared on the other dashboard. So let's say you look at the new CC data quality dashboard and you see that you have a couple clients with a client name error. You're going to jump over to the drill down version, look at all of the clients that are populating on that tile, and then using the enrollment ID or the personal ID, that's going to let you bring up that enrollment or that client record to fix it. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay, and then the rest of the drill down version is pretty straightforward. It's just tiles with clients populating, and you'll go row by row and see where the problem is. And if nobody has any further questions, that's all I have.
Great. Thanks, Tori. I don't see any questions in the chat. Actually, Joe says, can someone drop the link to the red team, please?
Yes, we can do that.
Thanks, Tori. Thanks for your question, Joe. All right. We are nearing the end of our agenda. This is now Q&A. Just want to open the floor if anybody has any questions that they want to ask. Please go ahead and unmute or type it into the chat. Any questions?
Oh, how long should Leslie ask for an extension for the city of Walnut Creek? Oh, just hold it. End of the meeting. Fine, you can get it done. I just want to know what it looks like. Is it the narrative? Is this to the?
Did you have a question, Pamela, or?
Okay.
I think I heard Pamela ask about an extension request. Is that true? We can circle back with Pam.
All right. Any other questions before we close the meeting?
Yeah, just back to the chat. I'm trying to find the actual CCC H3 red team website. Is there a specific website? Because I can't find it. I'm going, but I just can't find it.
We don't have a red team specific website, Joe. What we do have is a section for data requests with all of the data reports that the red team produces. And then there's a separate section under the, I think it's the continuum of care tools for partners.
Yeah, somebody just dropped it in there. It's the partners ones that I was looking for. That's the one. I just couldn't find it. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
All right. Looks like there are no other questions. And with that, we will end the meeting. Thank you everyone for being here today. Apologies again for the late start. Appreciate your patience, but have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all. Hoping to see everyone at the pit.
Yay, see you there.